So next we're going to talk about how do we deal with negative data, negative inputs and outputs. For example, if you consider profit, if you have a loss during one period, then you have a negative profit. So how do you deal with the negative data in the EA? We always assume that actually all the inputs and the outputs are non-negative in the DEA models. Okay, this is the assumption that we made. If we have negative data, we are not able to run the DEA model. So that's the assumption. So the question is, what if we have negative data, and sometimes we can get that negative data. If we have negative data, our choice of DEA model is actually very limited. It's only limited to the VRS model. We can only use the VRS model. What we do is we do a displacement of the negative data. So if you look at it here, the xij and the yrj, these are the original values. In this case, will be negative. So if you add a positive number onto the beta, for example, onto the inputs, and you get a positive translated inputs. If you add the pi onto the negative outputs, you get a positive value. So in practice, what you do is, let's say if you have negative inputs and output or both, you just select the value that will make the largest negative value positive, and then you add that value onto each negative inputs. That will give you a positive number, and then you run the VRS model. Remember, the only model you can use is the VRS model. So here's a sample data set from in the area of finance. We have the standard deviation, proportion of non-active returns, and average monthly return, and skewness, minimum return. So you can see the minute you have negative numbers on the minimum return, and you also have a negative number on the skewness, and you also have a negative on the monthly return. So all three you have some negative values on the three outputs. So what you do is, for the first output you add 3.7%. For the second output you add 2, and the third output you add 26%. So in that case, all the outputs are positive. So next you apply the VRS model, say the input-oriented VRS model, to this new data set, the x1, x2, because they are all positive. So nothing has changed, and then you can run the based upon the original inputs and the three transformed outputs. Okay, and then you will be able to get the efficiency scores, and you can also, once you get the optimal solution, then you can also transform the positive number back to the original ones by deducting, say 3.7%. Okay, so this is how you deal with the negative data.